Volkswagen's taken a page out of Porsche's book for this one. It's okay, it's all in the same family anyway. But for the 2025 VW Golf R, you could pay a little bit more to get a little bit less. Yes, it sounds like the Porsche Weissach package. And with the Golf R's Euro style package, you could pay $3,800 to save about 80 pounds. More on that later. For the 2025 model year, the Volkswagen Golf R has been slightly redesigned. It now matches the same look and feel as the facelifted GTI. The headlights look a little smaller and more streamlined. The LED lighting is more noticeable. As for the front fascia, the old Golf R's design has been stolen by the refreshed GTI, so the new Golf R takes on a different approach, with the body-colored sections being lengthened across the front of the car. Though with this very stealthy black edition, you can't really tell what the front looks like, as it's all very obscure. Even the logo has been darkened. I don't know if murdering out your car is still in fashion, but this is the darkest Golf R ever made, and I am all for it. The black edition also gives you the black 19-inch forged wheels, even though with the brake dust here, it doesn't really look like black at all. The brake calipers on here has also been blacked out, and you could see the subtle R logo on there, and that grips on the 14.1-inch cross-drill floating rotors for the front axle. And in the same fashion as the GTI and other Volkswagen models, the R logo has been moved over to the front door, and in the back here you can see that you have 12.2-inch vented rotors. And around back, the Golf R looks very clean and simple. It does have the more pronounced rear spoiler compared to the GTI, and since this has the Euro style package, this gets the quad-tipped Akrapovic titanium axle back exhaust to save a little bit of weight. Now that is a pretty significant source of the weight savings, and there's more weight savings inside. You'll notice that there's no sunroof up here, and also the front seats have been defeatured, and the motorized adjustments have been reduced to some manual functions, except for this tilt functionality. The ventilation features have also been removed, and you'll notice that these are now cloth seats with these microfiber surfaces. They feel pretty grippy. And in general, inside the Golf R, there's just a blue shade to everything. So blue surfaces, blue stitching, blue lighting, blue highlights. It's very fitting to the R theme, and it's a nice contrast to the red GTI theme. Now, while the GTI did get a nice upgrade inside with the return to physical buttons on the steering wheel, it seems like the Golf R didn't get that memo. The steering wheel is still the haptic feedback style that Volkswagen wanted to get away from. I certainly didn't like them, but it is something that you can get used to. I do love the large paddle shifters on the Golf R steering wheel, very sporty and very easy to reach. And you're going to want to use the paddles a lot because this dual clutch transmission is, in my opinion, one of the best in the industry for this price point. They did upgrade the infotainment system to this 12.9-inch infotainment screen, and this has wireless app connect, so you can get wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. And the upgrade here is that the touch-sensitive sliders are now backlit. The previous one was not. Straight ahead, you get this 10.25-inch digital driver display, and you can configure these gauges as well. I think this is my favorite view because you could get a quick glance at your RPM here, so that when you're driving pretty fast on the back roads, you can just get a quick glance as to where you are on the power band. As for space, the Golf R, just like the GTI, isn't really a very big car. Back row legroom is at 35 inches, and there's 38.1 inches of headroom. I think that's sufficient, but might be a tad tighter for taller people. It is nice that you get some venting back here and also heated outboard seats. As for cargo space, there's almost 20 cubic feet of space behind the second row, and that grows to 34.5 cubic feet of space with the back seat folded down. I think that's perfect. It's not too big, it's not too small. This is a small car with some utility. This is the Golf way. Now, when it comes to the driving experience, it didn't take very long for me to fall in love with the Golf R, and I think one of the best features of this car is the 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. I've driven a bunch of dual clutch transmissions, and they're all generally pretty good once you're moving beyond first gear. It's those situations when you're getting into first gear that some of the other dual clutches can kind of fall behind. But with this Golf R and also the Golf GTI, I never felt any of that hesitation, that unsureness during those slow speed situations. In fact, it's the other way around. The way this engages when you slightly lift your foot off the brake, this feels more eager to get going. So that's actually something for you to get adjusted to. But in the long run, this is going to feel more like a traditional automatic compared to other dual clutch transmissions. As for the motor, the Turbo 4 is pretty delightful. Coupled to this great transmission, you just want to constantly keep it pegged in the mid-range and make peak torque. This model year, the horsepower has been bumped up very modestly, up an extra 13 horsepower, up to 328 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. But is that really noticeable? Not really, but every little extra horsepower helps. 0 to 60 for the Golf R should be possible in the low 4-second range. There's also less drama here with the Golf R, less wrestling of the steering wheel, and it just feels like a very refined machine. A bit robotic, and a bit less of the GTI charisma. But you have more power and more traction thanks to the all-wheel drive system that was introduced back in the 2022 model year. It was great then, it's great now. Basically, this all-wheel drive system sends 50% of the torque to the rear axle, and there's 2 clutches on the differential, one for the left drive shaft and one for the right drive shaft. And depending on how that's engaged, you could send up to 100% of that rear axle torque to one side of the car. So basically, that's how you get your torque vectoring functionality. And also, drift mode. Yes, this car has drift mode. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same setup as the Audi RS3. Though the Audi RS3 gets a much more fun, much more rambunctious 2.5 liter turbocharged 5-cylinder. If you want supercar performance on a budget, that's the one you go with. But this Golf R is like 90% of the RS3 experience at 80% of the cost. It's so much fun to drive on back roads. The steering feels great with very nice feedback. The adaptive suspension can also properly stiffen up to give you a flatter driving experience. And all of the settings are adjustable on the screen. Now, despite how great the 7-speed dual clutch transmission is, it is a bummer that you can no longer buy this car with a 6-speed manual. That's something that you'd have to go with the 2024 model year or earlier. I've said it already in my Volkswagen GTI review, and if you haven't seen it yet, click the link up here. But in case you haven't seen it, I mentioned that I think a lot of people learn how to drive a car or even learn how to drive a manual using a manual GTI. And a lot of people fell in love with cars because of a manual GTI. And to see the manual option go away on such an iconic nameplate is kind of a bummer. But thankfully, manual cars are still available. And if you want to keep manual cars around, then it is our job to act with our pocketbooks. Do we still say pocketbooks? But anyway, basically, we have to buy these cars so that manufacturers will still keep making them. But for the meantime, this 7-speed dual clutch gearbox is very good. And this Golf R is a really good car. Now, if you want to see my review of the Volkswagen GTI, the facelifted one, click this link over here. But I want to thank you so much for watching all the way up to this point. My name is Hanson, and that has been the 2025 Golf R Black Edition. And I'll see you in the next one.